New rules, you and the IRS this January. The new ObamaCare 1099 rule for reporting of all cash, credit, and check business transactions of $600 or more is scheduled to begin January of 2012. This is really an extension of the 2008 Housing and Recovery Act IRS rules that start this January, when merchant banks and PayPal will report business sales directly to the IRS. The reporting threshold is $20,000 and 200 transactions a year. These new IRS rules will affect every American. Here are some of the lowlights. Income tax collection could rise as much as $345 billion a year. Small businesses will be crushed and unemployment will rise. A cashless economy will be set in motion. IRS snooping and audits will increase. Gold can be tracked. Identity theft is a risk. Government surveillance will increase. The tax gap. The tax gap is the difference between what is owed and what is paid. A Senate Committee on Finance document identifies the intention to close the tax gap, estimated at $345 billion. The IRS found that with excessive reporting requirements, the so-called voluntary reporting rate will increase from 46% to 95%. Individual filers and businesses with less than $10 million in assets are targeted. If the government is successful, they will raise $345 billion a year. Therefore, the prize has already been won. This has been passed into law. It will be nearly impossible to repeal it. Congress has already failed to repeal it twice. Congress claims that the new ObamaCare 1099 rules are expected to bring in $19 billion over 10 years in lost revenue from the tax gap. This is a gross underestimate. Clearly, the intention is to bring in hundreds of billions of dollars. The 2008 Housing and Economic Recovery Bill. The first wave of reporting goes into effect in January 2011, as merchant banks and PayPal will report directly to the IRS sales of $20,000 or more and 200 transactions. Because banks and PayPal will be involved in taxation, this creates a number of problems. The IRS used to need a subpoena from a judge to view business bank accounts, but now they have access to Snoop and can track activity. The IRS can initiate audits and inquiries if they suspect underreporting of cash sales. While banks and processors will send only volume reports to the IRS, the backup data will contain information on buyers. Many small businesses and independent contractors use their Social Security numbers for tax ID, so there's a threat of identity theft. ObamaCare. Originally, the reporting threshold of Bush's 2008 housing bill was $600, but PayPal pressured Congress to increase the limits to $20,000 and 200 sales transactions. ObamaCare reinstates the original rules of the 2008 housing bill and massively expands it. ObamaCare mandates that businesses and self-employed individuals provide 1099 forms for every purchase of $600 or more. This includes cash, checks, and credit purchases. For example, if a freelancer buys more than $600 worth of office supplies over the course of a year from Staples, they will be required to 1099 Staples and collect their tax ID number. Additionally, small businesses and independent contractors will receive a 1099 form from each business they sold over $600 worth of goods or services, and will have to supply their tax ID or Social Security numbers. However, individuals shopping at a grocery store will be spared from issuing a 1099 form to the supermarket if the purchase is for personal use, outside of business. Gold and silver. The ObamaCare mandate will affect gold and precious metals. Gold is easy to transfer without taxation because its value is intrinsic or contained within the item itself. ObamaCare will require dealers to submit a 1099 form with tax ID or Social Security numbers to anyone they buy more than $600 worth of jewelry, coins, or bullion from, including private individuals. Obamacare is bad because it will kill struggling businesses due to loss of productivity by requiring ridiculous amounts of paperwork. This will result in higher unemployment. With more unemployment, more people will be dependent on welfare and the government. Obamacare can track individuals. It can track gold sales. Audit rates will increase as the IRS plans to hire 16,500 new agents to investigate and examine tax returns. Currently, the audit rate is 1%. The intent is to squeeze hundreds of billions of dollars out of the middle class as corporations and the rich pay limited taxes using loopholes, and they are not usually targeted for audits. The IRS is the enforcer of Obamacare. It can steal money out of bank accounts, garnish wages, put people in jail, and some IRS agents carry guns. Perhaps one of the most insidious aspects of Obamacare is the push towards a cashless economy. Doug Shulman, IRS Commissioner, said that credit card and debit card purchases will be exempt from reporting with the new 1099 forms because payment processors will already be reporting the transactions to the IRS. Under the guise of eliminating the overwhelming burden of paperwork for small businesses and contractors, this is really a step toward a cashless economy because people will want to avoid the extra paperwork and will embrace electronic transactions. Recently, a bank in Australia experienced a computer problem that left millions of people without access to their money. Should the banks really have more control? Cost of ruining small business, $600. Cost of government stupidity, trillions. Dreams of the American people waking up and taking action, priceless. For everything else, there's MasterCard. So, what can we do? Individuals can use cash and barter to limit IRS snooping and to weaken this financial trap. The simplest way to get rid of Obamacare is to forego the lengthy repeal and litigation processes. The states can nullify this new law even before it goes into effect. If enough states nullify Obamacare, it becomes invalid. The 10th Amendment Center has written nullification legislation to get rid of Obamacare. The cleanest way to eliminate IRS tyranny is for the states to nullify the 16th Amendment because it opposes the Constitution. It is a direct tax that fails uniform application. It is absolutely crucial for people to understand that both Democrats and Republicans work toward the same goals. So constitutional leaders must be elected into the positions of power if we are to regain our freedom. It is also important for people to learn that the states are sovereign and the 10th Amendment is powerful. The link for the full article is in the description box below. Or you can Google New Rules, You and the IRS this January.